Hello, farmers, and welcome to another episode of the Harvest Season. My name is Al,
I'm Kevin.
and I am playing Mineko's Night Market as we speak.
Excuse me, I believe that is Wormburger's Night Market.
Oh, fantastic. We are going to have so much to talk about this game, I think.
You think the game that's been in development for 8 years and has been my most anticipated game like 2 years running?
It's funny because this podcast has been going for like nearly 5 years now, right? And this game had already been announced 4 years before the podcast started. So quite a while.
2015, baby. That's wild.
Did Niku just poop on the ground?
I didn't see that, I don't think.
It just sat on the ground and stood up, and then it was a garden plot.
Yeah, that's possible, yeah.
I think Niku just pooped on the ground to give me somewhere to plant. All right, well, let's see what happens with that. We're going to talk about Mineko's Night Market, because somehow we managed to play this game in the 5 days since it came out.
Yeah, but I played a lot, so I have things to talk about.
yeah, we're gonna talk about it. Before that, we've got a bunch of news to talk about. Some quick. Oh, there's stuff we need to talk about. There's stuff we definitely need to talk about. Have you not looked through the news?
Not really. I like going
Kevin.
in blind.
Right, that's fine. Let's go in blind. Most of it's pretty small, pretty quick. Still good, but we've got 2 really chunky bits of news at the end that we need to talk about.
We haven't talked about that one.
We have not talked about that yet.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we do have things to talk about. All right. I know. I like how you know exactly what I'm looking at.
Well, of course I know. No, so we recorded the last episode, I think, like the day before that news came out. Was it me and Cody? Okay. I think it was.
Yes,
we recorded really early that week, and then they came out with that news, and that was really frustrating. So anyway,
good stuff.
First of all, though, Kevin, what have you been up to?
Okay, so in the good old me decided to do a whole bunch of things before Mineko dropped.
Of course.
So, the Pokemon DLC has been out for a minute. There's been a lot of talk, and so I finally gave in, and I started playing Pokemon, but I wanted to play a good one, so I'm playing Sword and Shield. I started a Nuzlocke in Sword and Shield. A few mutual friends of ours, are doing it in the ISE Slack. And it's a fun one to Nuzlocke through. Because there's so many wide variety of encounters and and it's surprisingly challenging at times. There's some heavy hitters in that game. One going back to that gen, like all joking aside, I this is a subjective opinion, but I think it looks better than Scarlet Violet. Like, maybe not technically.
I don't think I disagree with that. Like, I'm definitely one of the Scarlet and Violet enjoyers and defenders.
Right.
But I don't think that as a game it looks better than Sword and Shield. Definitely not.
Yeah.
I think personally that's like generally a problem with open world games. Like, I don't think that any of them look amazing, right? Like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom have some moments where you're like, wow, but like those are very few and far between, and most of the time it's just the same rocks and grass again, right? I think that is just a problem with them. So yes, I agree.
That's fair. Yeah, no, that's I think that's accurate. So yeah, it is an uphill battle in that sense for Scarlet Violet, but even stuff like just the color palettes, I think they're really, really pop in Sword and Shield.
Oh yeah, especially what was it, Balonlea? Amazing town,
neon mushroom
just
town,
gorgeous.
Awesome.
Love it.
Yep. And also one other comment, just like again looking back, the gym battles are just so good in Sword and Shield. Like, just this whole spectacle of a stadium battle and the chanting, which actually fits in on like Scarlet Violet. It's so bombastic and thrilling. And again, just comparing to Scarlet Violet, like because of the freedom. I don't know. It wasn't as memorable, maybe, but again, that's something subjective. But point B, ultimately, Sword and Shield is still really good, really fun. And I'm enjoying going through a Nuzlocke. Well, I was before Mineko dropped. Aside from that, I have had a big fighting game itch. So I dusted off a game called Skullgirls. Are you familiar with this at all, Al?
I am not.
Okay. So Skullgirls was originally released in 2013, 2014, and they are still developing new stuff for it. Not a sequel, like the same game. It's wild. It was it's notable in the fighting game community for a couple of reasons. One, I mean, it's a good game for fighting game reasons. But aside from that, it's all hand drawn art, so it looks really good. It has like a very stylistic Art Deco thing going on with a lot of its environments and settings. And as the name implies, Skullgirls, at least originally, the original 8, I believe, were all female fighters. Which was, obviously not the norm in gaming in general, right?
Yeah.
An all-female cast. And they've done rounds of DLCs since then. I think it's going to be up to 18 by the end of this year. I think there's 2 males, but the rest are all females. Well, I mean, there's a robot female and an alien monster thing. But so, take that how you will. But it's dynamic, it's fun, it's like not even fighting game or not. It's just very good writing, comical and vibrant. So yeah, Skullgirls, to anyone who enjoys fighting games, that's a hearty recommendation. It's basically out on anything and everything. But aside from so those were the 2 things I did, and then Mineko Wednesday came, and it's been all Mineko since then. What about you, Al? What have you been up to pre-Mineko?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think basically Mineko's the only game I've been playing this week. Mineko. I did play some more Pokemon, so I think I got my. I can't remember where I was when we last talked, or when I last said it on the podcast, but I've completed the DLC on both games. I decided just to do so. My Scarlet was like basically I hadn't done anything in it, and so I did the DLC without having done any of the badges. And then I was like, I'm just going to do all the badges. So I just did everything on that one. So I've now completed that. And then
at least it's fast to do it.
Yeah, certainly once you've got everything,
knock them out. Yep.
Yeah. And then what else did I do? Yeah, I did the DLC on my Violet as well, and I completed the decks on that, and I did there's a couple of side quests as well in the DLC, so I did those as well, and just a bunch of Pokemon stuff in there.
Have you not gotten a bit tired of Scarlet Violet after doing it like 3-4 times?
4 times, yeah. I mean, the story, yeah, sure, right? Like,
yeah,
the story bit is not fun. I still enjoy playing those games. Like, I still enjoy the core loop of those games. I still enjoy collecting Pokemon, blah, 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 blah. I think I have decided that I'm not going to do the new Professor Oak challenge that I suggested. I think that's probably going a bit far. And if I want to
until the second DLC drops.
No. Well, I was going to wait till that, because like if you're going to do it, then do it all the way, right? But then I was like, actually, like if I want to do it, there's so many games I haven't done a Professor Oak challenge of. I just do another one, like I'm thinking about maybe doing Legends Arceus one, for example, which could be fun, because I don't have a Legends Arceus save file just now.
That would be interesting.
I was thinking when you were talking about Nuzlocke, maybe it would be interesting as a Nuzlocke, because obviously you're not using Pokemon, right? So they're not going to die, but you can die in that game. You can get knocked out in that game. So doing like a no death Arceus run, that could be interesting. Yeah, that's probably it about games. I mean, Pokemon Go, obviously, but that's probably about it with games. I have, however, been watching a couple of things. I've been watching X-Men 92 and the run up to the new X-Men 97 coming out next year.
All right.
Uh,
How's that been for you? How are
it's
you liking it?
it's good fun. I'm surprised at how like quickly and succinctly they're getting through X-Men storylines. like,
Yeah.
like in the first season, they do like 5 or 6 big X-Men stories. Like just that's it. Those ones are done now. And you're like, oh my word, right. Wow, that was fast.
Yeah, this was prime 90s Saturday morning cartoon stuff.
Yeah.
So like there's no time for plots or build up. Go do your enemy of the week.
That's the thing. And
you got toys to sell, man.
There's no filler episodes. They're all action all the time.
Yeah.
So it will be interesting to see where they go because there's still 4 seasons to go. I've just finished the first season, so I've got 4 more to go. And I'm like, I feel like they're running out of stories by now. Although I do believe there is a crossover with the 90s Spider-Man as well that I'll need to watch.
There is, but that is under the Spider-Man.
Yeah, I know. But that's okay. I need to watch that as well, right? Because it's a crossover.
Yeah.
I haven't figured out where it lies in the timeline. I know it doesn't matter.
I assure you, it does not matter.
I know it doesn't matter, Kevin, but it matters to me.
Well, good luck with that, because I'm sure it didn't matter to the writers or whatever. I will say, like, I was still pretty young when that X-Men first aired, so I watched some of it.
In 1992, yes.
Yes. The year I was born. I was also
quite young.
So I didn't watch it. I missed the boat a little on that one. I didn't. I watched it, but just not like everything, right? But it's still very much, like many people, was very iconic, informative in what I think of the X-Men, right? Like, that's the theme, the colors, all the looks. It's still my favorite beast of all time. Yeah, but good stuff. Sentinels were cool too.
Yes, yeah. And then I also watched for the first time Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the film.
Okay, I have not watched this. Tell me.
I thought it was really good. I think it does a good job. Like, obviously, live action.
Wait, we're talking the live action, right?
Yes.
Okay,
The animated one, it's not out yet, and it's a series, I believe. Okay. It's not a film.
Right. Okay.
But
okay, I hear a lot of love for this movie. I think comic, whatever.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people like it, and a lot of people thought it was fine. I will say that live action is difficult to do, like a good kind of comic booky style. Film.
Yes, it is.
Like
difficult.
most live action comic book stuff doesn't try and be comic booky, right?
Yeah.
But Scott Pilgrim definitely does, and I think they did it really well. I think it works like that. Like it definitely feels like a comic book film. It's like, how Into the Spider-Verse feels like a comic book film. I know that it's not live action, but it feels comic booky, whereas all the other ones really just feel like superhero stuff, right?
Yes, I know what you mean.
It feels like that. It feels like they wanted it to feel like a comic book, and I think it works really well. I think there are a few things in the story that feel a bit odd, but that just might be me being a bit weird around it. I'm not sure whether it's because I've not read the original comic run of this, right? So I don't know whether it tells it some of the bits in a better way, or whether I'm just kind of being a bit weird with it. I don't know, but I enjoyed it. It was good.
All right, that's cool. I might watch it just for the animated series, because the animated series looks very impressive.
Well, that was the other thing. That was the other reason why I was watching it. I was like, I know I want to watch this at some point. You know what? Why not now? Before the animated series comes out would be a good idea.
Yep. All right. That's good. That's good stuff. Anything else you've been watching?
I mean, bits and pieces here and there. I'm about to start the newest series of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. So there's that I'm going to watch.
Man, it is impressive how much stuff you get to watch. I am behind on a lot of things.
There's a lot to watch. What can I say? Have you been watching Ahsoka, of course, as well? I've been watching Ahsoka, which I've been enjoying.
Wars.
And Loki starts this week.
I've got to catch up on stuff before I watch Loki. Like the required reading. I have to watch Ant-Man.
I don't think there's a lot of required reading. Yeah, I'd say Ant-Man.
No, I don't think so either. Ant-Man.
Loki and Ant-Man, and presumably you've watched WandaVision.
Yes, I've watched the original one. I watched WandaVision. I watched Loki season 1, so just Ant-Man.
I suspect,
but I am going to do
all of it
because I do too. Which really means I just need to watch Ant-Man. But I'm excited for it because it looks good.
It does.
Owen Wilson's really good in it, and so is Tom Loki, whatever his last name is. Hiddleston. Yes, Tom Loki.
And we've got Ke-Huy Quan. Is that how you say his name? Coming in as well, and his character looks very fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome. Well, should we talk about some news?
I guess so. Hey, you want to talk about Mineko first, though?
No, I do not. Let's talk about some news.
Yeah, and what's our first news item?
Oh, yeah. I hadn't looked yet. I wrote all this up like 4 days ago. So Mineko, there's some Mineko's night market news. So the Xbox and PlayStation versions, we've got dates for them now. They're coming out on the 26th of October. And the physical Switch and PS5 versions are coming the 27th of October.
Yep. Is it? I didn't realize it's already on. Is it on PS5? I assume.
No. So that's
sorry.
Xbox and PlayStation versions. Yeah,
but
mistake, I think the
Switch,
PlayStation version is for PS4 and PS5, but the physical version is just PS5. Well, and Switch, obviously.
Okay.
So there is a PS4 version of the game, but not physical.
Okay.
If that's clear.
Yeah, sure. Look, by the end of October, it's going to be everywhere. That's the main.
Mm-hmm.
But you can get it on Switch or PC right now.
You can, and we have it covered because you got Switch. I got it on PC and played it on Steam.
Yep. And if that's not enough physical for you, you can get a physical Mineko.
You can.
Well, I think you can because I'm clicking on the link and it's not working. Yeah, I don't know why.
There's a new link. I've got a new link here.
Okay. So anyways,
it still exists.
Okay.
There you go. There's your new link.
Okay. The Mineko people are doing a plush
it's run a good-looking plush.
It's a good-looking plush.
Really
it is
detailed.
It is by the company called Makeship, which I am familiar with. This is basically what they do. They do limited runs of plushes.
Yeah, they're doing the Oblitz ones as well, I think, and stuff.
They did one for Bear and Breakfast, and I missed it. I'm so sad. But that's the kicker, right? That it is limited.
It is.
I think Turnip Boy had like 2 plushes.
Yeah.
But anyways, so yeah, Makeship. Rise of the time recording 20 days when it comes out. That'll probably be more like 2 weeks left on the campaign. So check it out if you want. It's $30, maybe a little pricey, but if you love Mineko, like I love Mineko, it's probably worth it because you will probably never ever see any other physical Mineko merch like this again.
Have you ordered it yet? That's the question.
Not yet, but I will soon. Payday when it gets. But yes, and Mineko's art works really well with plush. I think, like the
I'm really impressed with how detailed it is. Right, like you've got the eye detail, the hair detail, and the clothing detail, the ear, the backpack. It's all so great.
Yeah, Makeship. I have had Makeship products before, and they are quality products. And yes, the detail is as good as you'd hope or want, or the creators want, whatever. And it's a good quality plush, decent size too, not one of those tiny little things.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's Mineko. Again, about 2 weeks if you're listening to this, roughly. I do. What date does it do? I'm not going to figure out the date. So October 20th, roughly.
Yeah, it does actually 19th. Say that on the page. You don't have to count it. If you scroll down a little bit, it shows you the date. Okay. It's got a timeline. Production starts 20th of October. Shipment.
Look, the link's on the show notes. Click on there.
Shipment estimated January 13th.
Yeah, that's the only thing, right? They take forever with these limited run things.
That's not too bad.
Yeah.
You're
3 months. Gosh. No, that's too close. 2024 is a year away. No.
Christmas is less than 100 days away.
I know. I went into the Home Depot the other day and there was all the Christmas decor.
You love it.
Right before October. That's just the norm. What else is you know what else is October?
We've got Coral Island. I've announced their PS5 version is coming on the 9th of October. I will say, I love a conspiracy around dates. This is a suspicious date. This is suspiciously close because the next update for Coral Island is the 1.0 update. Just saying.
Okay.
Now, we don't know when that's coming, but all I'm saying is they haven't said the PS5 version is early access.
And they say once you switch, there's no going back. Or wait, they mean for version. Well, either way, that still sounds very... and they have the winky emoji, so...
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
It's probably 1.0. You're probably right. There's the art right there. It has the merfolk in it. It's all... That looks like a 1.0 art. Like a
I think that's the same
cover.
artist they've been using for ages, but yeah.
Is it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't paid attention.
pretty sure I had that wallpaper on my phone for 6 months.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll see whether I'm right or wrong. It might be too soon after the most recent update, but they also could have been working on both of them at the same time. We'll find out in like a week, because that's like a week away.
Yep, October 9th, yeah. A week.
Next, we have Critter Crops have been delayed till 2024. It's that time of year. We've still got so many more to delay. Keep coming with your delays, please. Yeah. There's too many games. We still have like 30 games listed is coming out this year.
Yeah,
go and delay
fine.
them, please.
Look, I'm still playing. Oh, no, Paleo Pines is out. No. Oh.
What do you mean, no? Man alive, Kevin.
I just want Mineko, nothing else. No, leave you alone.
That's all right.
Games.
It's all right. You've got 2 weeks till you need to do the Paleo Pines episode. Sundown Survivors. They've got their 1.4 update, which they have named the final boss. And I think that the update includes the final boss of the storyline.
What?
Just a thought there.
That's wild. Okay, what is this game? I don't remember what this is.
It's like what do they call with the bullet hell roguelike bullet hell type game.
Okay.
Like I'm not playing this game.
Pokemons.
I don't know. There's some stuff. There's some farming, right? I felt like I needed to include it, but
yeah, sure. It's a bull, man. Oh, it is Demon King Minos. That's the men game guy. Okay, yeah. There you go.
It's like £3 as well. Nice. It's very cheap.
Shmupfest. That's what it says here. It's Steam Shmupfest. So,
okay. I don't know what that means.
Oh wait, it's gonna be over. Shmup is the genre.
Oh, was that shoot 'em up? Right.
Yep.
Got you. Orange Season also have an update out. The Festivals season that is out now, and it adds a Tomato War, the Summer Festival, and the Chicken Race.
These are all good words. I like, especially Tomato War. What does that mean?
Yeah, so it looks like it's a festival where you're like trying to hit each other with tomatoes.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh.
During the event, you and 3 other competitors will throw tomatoes at each other, earning points for hits and losing points for getting hit. The one with the highest score when the time is over wins. Don't worry, all the tomatoes used weren't apt for consumption anyway.
Okay.
Like it matters, it's a game.
Yeah.
There's swimming. Oh, wait, swimming. That is the Summer Festival. They called it different things. They called it Summer Festival at the top, and then they called it Swimming
Festival. Yeah, it is. Okay.
You swim. And then there's the Chicken Race, which I feel like that's probably self-explanatory as well.
It looks good, though. I'll say that. Chickens are running.
Also, is that a dino chicken? Look at the colors on that chicken.
I think it's the greenish chicken. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of other stuff too.
Yes, they have the key one I think being that they've added controller support. So
that's a good one. I like that. I like controllers.
Yes, I do. As someone with a Steam Deck, I very much like controller support on Steam games.
All right.
Next, we have another update. Traveler's Rest have their drinks and staff update.
Those sound important to a game where you're running a tavern.
Yes. Yeah. So customers can order drinks. You can serve them drinks, and then there's also you can employ employees.
Yeah, they revamped the system.
They also added seasons to the game. Like I feel like what was in this game before now, right? Like
I'm wondering. New beverage aging system was that.
They've added the guest room system as well. Like, there's a lot in this update
that you'd expect in a tavern.
To be fair, it is in early access. So
okay, yeah,
it's 0.6.1 update.
Fun idea, just a little more time in the oven, it looks like.
Right. Next, we have 2 Pixelia, which we've mentioned before, but they are now in Kickstarter. Now, what I want to do is I want Kevin to go and watch the entirety of this video before we talk about this. So I will probably cut this out, listeners, but I want Kevin to go and listen and then tell us what his thoughts.
All right, you know what? I can do it live as I'm watching.
I mean, you can do it live if you want, but you don't need to.
All right, wait, based on my true story, is that what it just said? Yep, on my true story. I can live my life how I see fit, okay. Pixelian is a whole awful word.
I know, right?
Is this just Pixel Sims?
I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's Sims. It feels more like Pixel's Second Life.
Okay, or that, sure, yeah. Oh, yeah, oh, look, there's a fashion runway.
Because, like, you are playing, because you've got one character that you're playing.
Okay.
And
yeah, there's like, a lot going on here.
There's so
wow, you
much
can really
on.
Do anything.
This is the thing. It just keeps going.
Basketball, a farmer. Okay, you can decorate your space. Yeah, okay, this is just Second Life Pixel version. Let's embrace the thrill. What, you can rob banks?
You can rob banks.
And hack. I saw binary. Oh my gosh, Grand Theft Auto. Actual street traffic violations.
Yeah, you know what? And then...
Of course... build bonds. What could that mean?
You can go to jail.
You can go to jail, yeah. I'm sure there's... I hope that jail system's innovative.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if you can break out of it or not.
Oh, you can. You absolutely can. Oh, well, there's a nightclub.
What isn't there? What isn't there in this game? Like, when I first saw this, I just thought it would be like another like life sim, standard life sim. But there's an insane amount in this.
But it's a lot of life. This really is everything.
You can be a boxer.
Yep. Fishing. Oh, there's our cottagecore.
There's our farming.
Yeah, but who wants to do that when you can rob banks? What is that? Is that the UN?
I think so.
They have the bank robber right on the cover art. They know that's the good one. All right, there you go. You can really do anything.
Absolutely wild how big this
it is. Wow, and they smashed that goal. 25 days and they doubled it. Good for them.
It's not a huge goal, but yeah, still. I mean, you've seen ones with small goals not get hit, so yeah. It's going all right.
All right.
But yeah, this is
really
2 Pixelia.
Politics.
2 Pixelia is a pixel art life simulator game set in the charming country of Pixelia. Your journey begins with a life-changing decision to start a new life from scratch. Bleh. And as you step off the bus, your choices will determine what that life will become. I wonder how much of that is like actual choice. I wonder if there's things that you can't actually do. Like, do they build in like privilege and stuff like that? Is it easier for certain people to do certain things? I don't know.
That would... I would applaud them so hard if they did. Oh my gosh.
I don't know if that would be fun or not. That's my only question.
I would... Would it be fun playing the game? I don't know, but reading it and seeing it happen and the Twitter tweets that would come out of that, my gosh, that would be the best.
It would be great as an art piece, certainly. Right.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, would that make it a fun game? I don't know.
I don't. Well,
I'm probably going to cut this bit, but like, hard mode is your black, right?
Yeah, just like the South Park difficulty slider.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, look, you know what? They don't even have to put gameplay in it, but you like just lean into it. Like you can do anything. Right? And that's what they're saying in their campaign, their advertising, right? You can do anything, and you can have like, you could be a boxer, you can be a bank robber, you can be a farmer, you can have privilege as a person of color. You can do anything. Oh my god. I mean, there's politics, so The anarchism, whatever you want to call it, might be in the cards. You can dismantle the establishment. Wow, that's really for very big and ambitious. That's the word, ambitious. And it looks the trailer looks like a game, and with that small of a goal, I'm assuming they're basically done. It's more game than not.
Yeah, so it does say that they're expecting the final version to be out in May next year. I believe
that's not
with
bad at
the
all.
alpha coming out in December. So I mean that sounds to me like they have the features, right? They have the game, and the alpha and beta will actually be an alpha and a beta, which is like actually testing the stuff that you've done rather than just going, hey, here's a game
Does
without
it
the
work?
stuff, right? It's like, here's a game
Cough,
that's
traveler's
has
rest,
some
cough.
stuff. Which is, well, I mean, that's early. They're not calling it an alpha
No,
or beta, right? I find it really
I
annoying.
know.
Anyway, we don't need to get into this again. What have I written in it? Yeah,
It's
it's
big.
going to be
Yes.
interesting.
Big
Interesting to see.
while. Yeah, that's yeah. You can really do anything. Alien's
So-
still an awful name.
So we got to talk about Stardew Valley.
So
let me start off. Let me
there
start
are
this
clouds
off.
in the sky.
Let me
The
start this off.
ocean is wet.
Kevin.
Go ahead.
So, Concerned Ape, like just after we recorded the last episode, posted this image on Twitter of have you ever done any Ginger Island stuff in Stardew? That was in the most recent update. I haven't either, but I know that on Ginger Island there's a bunch of like parrots that you can use to unlock a bunch of stuff. And then so this is an image of a parrot that is like got the Joja branding. Joja? Is it
Joja, not Jojo.
Joja. Sorry, Joja. The Joja branding on it. And so I'm like, oh, interesting. Is this like another like Joja based thing? How does this work? It's going to be interesting to see what this is. Presumably it's on Ginger Island, like, or it's in a new place that we don't know about, something like that. And then Concerned Ape just like posts a list of the features coming up in the next update.
Yep.
And you're like, oh, okay. Which includes one of the bullet points is Joja alternatives to some of the endgame quests. So what I'm guessing is if you go the Joja route for the community center,
Yeah.
when you go to Ginger Island, all the parrots are Joja parrots.
Yep. Oh, sick. You're gonna deforest that island and put another Joja Mart there. Yeah.
I mean, I really enjoy doing the Joja way of doing things purely because it's like, I like being able to just like be a filthy capitalist, right? And just buy everything, right? Like,
Yep.
I'm just going to make so much money and just buy everything I need, right? Like,
Yep.
that's fun to do. I've only done it once, but it was fun to do it when I did it. Like, obviously, I enjoy doing the other way as well, but you know, there's oh my word, right? Okay, so let me just let's just go through this list and see if we have anything to say about them. How does that go? Because this is a lot of stuff coming in the new update.
Shocker.
And I feel like
Concerned Ape has a big update.
yeah, can we talk about this? Because like when Concerned Ape initially announced the 1.6 update, let me actually find the tweet because I'm sure I can find it because he doesn't tweet very much.
His tweet's also really short, like 2 sentences. Update coming, no release date.
Okay, so what he said in his first tweet about 1.6, which was April of this year, okay?
Okay.
5 months ago, he said, there is going to be a Stardew 1.6 update. It's mostly changes for modders, which will make it easier and more powerful to mod. But there is also new game content, albeit much less than 1.5. Now look at this list. We have...
Look, it is much less for Concerned Ape by his skate metrics.
We have 1 new major festival and 2 mini festivals.
Wow, wait, mini, okay.
Right? So that's just 3 festivals, right? Like he just added 3 new festivals in this update. Yep. He has added new late game content which expands on each of the skill areas.
There's a lot of skills in this game.
There's a lot of skills in this game. New items and crafting recipes, sure, fine. We don't know much about that. One of them looks to be a drink. One of them looks to be another warp totem. One is either golf clubs or a bag of worms. I don't know. I can't tell.
Quiver? Arrow quiver?
Oh, could be. Oh, interesting.
New weapon?
I wonder if that would...
see that.
Well, you can... There is no bow and arrow, isn't there? There's the... The what's it called? The little kind of, what's Bart Simpson's thing? You know,
slingshot.
Slingshot. There's a slingshot, but interesting arrow. I wonder how much of this has come from like stuff he's adding into Haunted Chocolatier and going, actually, I want to add that into Stardew.
Other way around. He's just adding Haunted Chocolatier into Stardew.
I mean, I actually wouldn't be surprised if he ended up adding
I made the joke on the Slack.
DLC, yes. And then we've got
Stardew 2.0, actually.
Like, I mean, honestly, I would not be surprised if Haunted Chocolatier ends up being DLC for Stardew Valley. Like, we'll all buy it and we'll all love it. 100 plus new lines of dialogue.
That's a lot of dialogue.
Joja alternatives to some of the endgame quests. That's what we've already talked about. Winter outfits for the villagers. That's all of the villagers are getting winter outfits. Now, one could say this should have already been there. That's fair enough, but like that's not a small thing to add.
Sure,
right?
Yes,
unique clothes for every single villager in the game.
Right.
New type of reward for completing billboard requests. I'm intrigued as to what that means.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Adding in support for 8-player multiplayer on PC.
Nothing big there. Just 8 player.
Just doubling the number of people that can play the game at once.
Only on PC, to be clear.
A new farm. Another new farm.
What is left to farm?
It's
a new farm that specializes in chocolate, actually.
I just, like... You could say this was small if you want. I think you're talking nonsense, right?
Like I genuinely believe Concerned Ape thinks this is small.
Oh, I'm sure he does. I think he's talking nonsense, though. Like, this is not a small update.
And, of course, he has the new secrets and more at the end, meaning there's who knows what else. It's a blank check.
Do you know, I think he keeps doing this because it just keeps getting people back into the game. Because now I want to play Stardew again, because I never properly played the 1.5 update. Is this going to be my Christmas game?
Maybe. I mean, there's winter outfits for you to celebrate.
So, yeah, there's a lot of Stardew stuff coming. He says there's no date for 1.6 yet, and I believe him.
Sure. Yeah, he'll just, look, knowing him, he's going to have a tweet. It's out.
That's exactly what's going to happen, right? Well, for PC anyway. It'll take a while for consoles.
Yeah, for PC, sure.
But yeah, that's going to be like, game's out now. You're like, sorry, what now? It's like there'll be somebody who will load up Steam the moment it gets updated, and Concerned It won't have tweeted about it yet. Right?
Absolutely.
Someone will be like, "Oh, he's updated the game," and then Concerned Ape will announce it by retweeting that person's tweet.
That's that's good.
Oh man, I just you don't have to keep giving us this stuff for free, right? Like I know he made a lot of money with Stardew Valley. Right?
I think he still is.
I know, I'm sure he is, but I mean. Dude's working. Dude's got to get paid. Like
I'm not concerned about that. I'm sure he's making good money.
I'm sure he is.
Like you said, this every time he does this, a new 1 point whatever number, that's sales.
I think I already own the game on everything. I don't think I can buy it again.
Just you watch. Just you wait. You will eat those words.
I just can't decide what to play the game on again. Like, do I just continue on Switch? Do I play it on Steam Deck? Because the update's probably going to come to Steam first.
I don't. Well, I mean, yeah, it's coming to Steam first. I don't know.
How good's the controller support on Steam?
I hope it's better than it was on the Switch. Switch one's okay.
It was fine. It was fine.
Yeah, 8-player. I would like to see what an 8-player farm would look like.
Crazy. I'm presuming the new farm is to do with that, right? Like instead of 4 corners, it's an 8 corners.
I guess. I don't know. Who knows? Like
it does have.
Could mean anything.
It does have full controller support on Steam. He did also say in his Steam update, which is different from the tweet. He says, I have no release date for it yet, but it will release it as soon as it's ready. The content is pretty close to being finished, but then there will need to be testing, polishing, and translations before it can launch.
Yeah, I guess there's... Yeah, because he's on everything now, that tail end of development is a bit... It's a hefty task now, isn't it? All the porting.
Maybe I need to start soon so that I can actually get done with the 1.5 stuff before the 1.6
there you
stuff
go.
comes out.
Yeah, there you go. Look, okay, you were debating where... Here's what you do. You have one on Switch, one on Steam Deck. One of them is the JoJo route, one is not. There you go. Problem solved.
Oh, no. Oh.
You look at that parrot. It's on a stand with the J on it. You won't get that if you don't do JoJo route. It's all concerned him, not me.
Also, we'll see whether 1.7 happens or not.
Oh, it like...
He's only mentioned 1.7 once, and that was in answer to a question as to whether there would be a 1.7, and he said, who knows? So...
I made the joke on Slack, but this is almost as serious as it is a joke. It will outlive a lot of things.
Yeah. I feel like he said 1.5 was the last one, so he kind of already has failed at stopping.
This man cannot stop. He's just one of those people. It's like Sakurai. Just okay.
Anyway, right. The other big news that we've got to talk about.
Something else that won't stop. Lord of the Rings.
So, Tales of the Shire. Now, for some reason, and I think we all know the answer to that. The reason is money. Right? But for some money-related reason, Lord of the Rings is making a cottagecore game based in the Shire. Yes. And that's all we know at this point. Yes, what I will say is interesting. Weta Workshop are who's the other company? Sorry, I'm just trying to look at this again because so Private Division. I don't know who they are, but I know that Weta Workshop made physical props for the films.
I mean, that trailer looks like it was filmed on the set.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very short trailer. It just shows the book basically, but like you can see from that one shot, like there's a lot of love for Lord of the Rings here. I am very confident that this will be a very good in Lord of the Rings game. Well, actually, I'm thinking about this now. It's all in the Shire, right? Like,
yes.
There's a lot of important Lord of the Rings stuff not in the Shire. Yes. And how much of that is going to leak into here?
Well, I'm presuming some people are coming to visit, right?
Can you romance Sauron?
No. So, games that Private Division have worked on or with Hades. They worked with Supergiant Games on Hades.
Oh boy.
Ollie Ollie World.
I know the name. I don't know anything else.
Skateboarding game.
Oh.
It's very good. The Outer Worlds.
Oh, that's a good one.
Kerbal Space Program Enhanced Edition.
Good heavens, this is the good resume.
And they're making Tales of the Shire with Weta Workshop.
Well,
the interesting thing is the point is Weta Workshop have done Lord of the Rings stuff. Like they did physical props. This is what's weird. They made physical. They're not a game developer.
No, but they're Lord of the Rings people.
They are.
That's what Private Division is for.
So
they're
So there we go.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like Private Division are a publisher, not a developer.
Oh, well.
So they're not.
Look, Weta Workshop is from New Zealand, I believe.
They are.
I'm mistaken.
That is correct.
Okay. Well, New Zealand, I say somewhat jokingly, somewhat seriously, there is an appreciable amount of their GDP that is from Lord of the Rings. Yeah. I am confident this will get the love and attention it deserves.
I am just fascinated by this, like,
and like it's Lord of the Rings, man.
Well, look, this is going to be dangerous, right?
Oh yeah,
because I love Lord of the Rings, and I love cottagecore games.
Yep,
I'm really worried about this.
there are the expression of "I just want to be a hobbit in the Little Shire" is a very common sentiment among people in general. Like it's gonna be a big thing. Yeah, it's gonna be bad. It's coming. They say 2024.
2024 to PC and console. I don't think they've said what, but
I like how we're excited. We have no idea what it's gonna be.
It doesn't
like,
matter. We know what. Like I trust that this will be good.
Oh, I do too. No, I fully agree. I just think it's funny. Like that's how confident we are in this project.
Yeah.
That we don't need any details. We're gonna get it, and it's gonna be good. And
I mean, that trailer looked good.
It did. Can I run a tavern in the Shire? That'd be fun. Assume they have a tavern.
Hopefully, we'll find out soon.
Can you have second breakfast?
I sincerely hope so.
Are you right? Right? Okay.
Oh, shall we talk about Mineko's night market?
Okay. Yes. All right.
I realized I hadn't actually written down what things we're going to talk about, so I'm just frantically thinking up things.
I mean, okay. Well, as always, let's start. Okay, let's start with the context of where we're coming from. As you said earlier, you're playing on Steam Deck. I'm playing on Switch. I'm interested to hear the comparison there.
Yes.
What are your overall thoughts, opinions? Let's just give a big blanket statement.
Yes. I like this game.
Yes.
I have some comments on things I would improve.
There are definitely issues. Small, like...
Well, small in so much as, like... It depends how you define a small. So one of the things I have noticed is that every loading screen is very long.
Okay. Are we just gonna get into this like the bad?
Let's just go for it. Let's get the bad out of the way so we can talk about the good, right? Let's go for it.
Loading. This is probably the number one big issue. Loading times are atrocious. Like I was wondering if it was just a Switch port, but
it is not.
So it's not.
It is the same on Steam Deck.
Okay, I want to. My very first thought about this game when I played it was when you start it, you get the loading screen and it's like Mineko running in the corner, but there's no music or anything. And I genuinely thought my game had frozen as soon as I started because Mineko stopped moving.
Yes, yeah. I feel like there's something weird in terms of like their... Because, there's some freezes and stuff as well, which sometimes can be a bit stressful. Where you're like, oh no, have I lost my day? No, I haven't. Yeah. I have not lost any data. That's not true. There was one... What happened? I can't remember. There was one case where I had to restart and I lost the day, and I can't remember what that was. Did I write it in Slack?
I don't. I mean, yeah... See, okay.
I remember. Yeah. There's a button on the controller remapping where you can click it and it deletes all of your mapping, so you can't do anything with the game.
Oh my goodness. Are you serious?
So if you click that button, which annoyingly the button is labeled default, so I kind of thought I would set it to the default, right? Because I changed a few things and I was like, all right, well, let me reset it to the default, but the default is nothing. But the problem is then I have no controls. Nothing worked.
Oh, yeah.
So thankfully it didn't autosave, right? Because it only saves overnight. So thankfully I just restarted the game and got my controller mapping back.
That's incredible. Oh no.
It was quite something.
Like so what I was gonna say, like you, I very much love this game. Right, I've been waiting for a long time, and it's interesting because I think it gets the hard part of making a game right. Like, it's a fun world, it's colorful, it's cute, there's so much to love about it. But there's a lot of little technical things, some that should feel very basic, I would think.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not a professional coder. I've taken a few coding classes in college, so I have a tiny bit of familiarity. So I, take that as you will, but I think that from 8 years in development, that it wouldn't be hard to be able to make it so you can push B to exit a menu.
Yeah, so this is the other thing that's been driving me insane with this game. There is no universal way to close a menu, right? Like every menu closes in a different way. Some of them close right, so that what some of them close by pressing X, some of them close by pressing Y, and some of them close by having to go down to the close button and pressing A.
Yes, it's
Right, and
it's
it's
the
weird.
same button you open it with, basically, or like you said, you scroll down to the
Yeah,
close button.
it's weird because as like and it's like such a universal thing that I've become used to, which is
Right?
B closes the menu you're in, and I don't know
Yes.
why it's not. The thing is, I was looking through the controller. This is why I was in the controller remapping. There actually is one called like close or something. I can't remember the wording.
What?
There is one, but it's not mapped to anything, and I mapped it to B, and it did nothing. It doesn't seem to do anything, but there's one that's
Oh.
worded like it should be doing that. So I'm really
Oh.
confused.
Oh goodness.
So
Though
yeah, those are the two big things for me: the loading
the
slash
and
freezing,
the
and
menu
the
and
menu.
stuff, yeah.
Menus in general are not amazing in this game, right? Let's just
No.
get into that. So like the crafting, right? Let's talk about the crafting because I think the
Yes.
crafting is kind of great, and frustrating in a few ways. So
Yes.
let's go with great. It's great because it's quite fun, I think. So
Yes,
I
it
think it
is
manages to do
active.
it
It's
manages to do interesting crafting in a way that doesn't drive me insane. So, like, my time at
mhm.
Porsche did different crafting, but I really hated what it did. It was like, here's this 3D, you have to fit this thing in the right place in the 3D. Whereas this is like each different type of crafting has a different mini game to do.
Micro
And
game,
how,
I'd call it. Like it's just a
okay,
tiny
sure,
game.
let's go with micro game. And however, if you do it the best, if you do it perfectly, you get a perfect thing out. If you do it well enough, you get just the normal version of that thing out. And if you
Mhm.
don't do it well, you get a rubbish version of it out. So
And
like it
they're
actually does require
mostly
some
not
skill to
hard.
get them. They're not difficult. No, I have
Except the
had
sewing
one.
one.
Oh, the sewing one. Um, I have had one bad that I managed to do with like my second flower bouquet. I
Yeah.
I I managed to cut it like right at the top,
Uh,
and I got a
oh
bad
no.
bouquet out of that, which
I
I sold for exactly $0. They would not give me
yeah.
any money for it at all.
That's amazing.
Um, so that was fun. But yeah,
Yes.
I think that's good. I think that's an interesting way of doing it. I quite like it. But the menu system in that is particularly frustrating, right? Because what you do is you've got different crafting tables, which by the way,
Yep.
the humor in this game is so fun, right? When you get a second crafting
Yes.
table, it just goes on top of the first
It just
crafting table.
stacks.
So you have this tower of crafting tables, which is just
And I'm
fantastic.
wondering what's going to happen because there's a lot of crafting
Yeah,
tables and I
yeah.
am running out of space
There's
up there.
and there's more to come. There's at least like I have at least one more to come, and I've
I
not
have
got much
3
space
more
left.
in the shop right
Oh,
now.
do you? I don't have any more in the shop just now, but I knew because they kept talking about the art one, and I'm like, I don't have an art
Yes.
one, and it's not anywhere to be seen. So I'm like, what's gonna happen next? That's fun, right? But what
Yep.
I'm not a huge fan of is when you go, so you click on it's like one interactable object, you click on it,
Yes.
and then you choose which crafting table, and then you choose which item to craft, and then you do the crafting. I'm not a
Yes.
huge fan of that. Like, it's a lot of button presses, and if you go through to one and then you go back, it like resets where you are in the list, and there's no bulk
I'm
crafting, and it's just like lots of little things that make it really
yes.
frustrating.
I don't have an issue with how it's set up. On like my biggest issue is again the menu thing because I can't. You to exit, you have to exit every menu. You have to go back, 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 back.
Yes.
That is annoying. But in general, I'm okay with that setup. I think it makes sense at the very least, like your different sections and your
Sure,
different.
I think if it weren't for the fact that the menu had lots of other issues, it would be less annoying, right?
Yeah.
Like as you say, if you didn't have to like keep going back and back and back, and if it didn't like reset where you are in the list when you go back
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that, then it would probably be less annoying. If you could like craft one and then immediately get thrown back to where you could then craft another. Like, because I understand why they
Yes.
don't have bulk
Oh,
crafting, right?
yeah.
Because they don't, they want you to do the game for each one, right?
Yes.
Okay, sure,
Right.
fine, but you do it, and then it's like it does the little bit like, oh, I got a perfect one, and then you're like, oh, great, and then you have to like click on the crafting table again, choose the
Yes.
crafting table you want,
Yes.
choose the item you want, right? You have to
Yes.
another like 4 button presses just to
Yeah.
do another one of the same one, and you're crafting a lot in this game.
It
A
wouldn't
lot
be
of
that hard
crafting.
to add a would you like to make another button
Yeah,
at the
exactly.
end.
Yeah, if you have
Yep.
the craft, do you yes or no, and there you go. Because you're
Yep.
more than likely going to want to do another one if you
Yep.
have the stuff for it.
I fully agree. And sometimes have you made sewing crafts yet?
I have, yes.
Is like at least on Switch, I don't know on Steam Deck, when I finish it, there's a big loading, like not even loading screen. The game just kind of freezes
It
after you make
pauses,
a
yeah.
sewing craft. Again, another moment I thought the game had frozen, but I waited and
I feel like it's getting worse as you go on as well. Like
yes.
I'm getting to the point where it's like even when I get off the bus, it freezes for like 5 seconds.
Yeah. So I don't so yeah, I mean there's lots of technical, as I call it, issues like this, and this is my biggest gripe with the game for sure. What's nice is some of these things I think are relatively simple. Again, not a professional coder, but what I do know, it doesn't seem that hard in principle. I think a nice solid patch would wipe out most of these complaints.
Yeah, and I suspect they're working on it. Like I think
of course.
The loading screen and the freezes are probably the more difficult one for them to solve, right? Those are difficult.
Absolutely.
But the UX issues should not take a lot of work. I don't think it should be reasonably simple to get the UX, because the issues that we're having are pretty small ones, right? It's like do this instead of that, right? And it's like the logic to do them is the same complexity, right? Like they're not.
Absolutely.
So I'm hoping they're listening and they're looking to improve those things. But yeah, I think it's not ruined my experience.
Yes,
but I will say, once we finish recording this episode, I'm probably going to wait until a patch before I play more of the game.
That's not a bad idea. I'm torn because I want to play more Mineko, but I would also like to wait for a patch.
I'm actually at a point in the story where I want to finish the story now, right? Like I'm intrigued as to what's happening, and I want to get to that point.
Met Nico, so
yes, I have.
Anyways, so yeah, I mean, I can't wait for the patch because then it's going to be, I'm sure, easily super hard recommend for anyone. I mean, I still heartily recommend it right now, but just with the warning label, there's going to be a few bumps on the road. Yeah. So, but like we said, this is all the negative, right? Like, but now let's talk about how much. Oh, wait. One more thing I wanted to say. Both the good and the bad, actually I think especially the bad, there's two pieces of context that I always keep in mind that I don't know if it makes it better or worse. The first 8 years of development, and I know like that's not like continuous development, they almost quit at one point, and so I don't know how long they've been working on it, but it's just wild to me that maybe they should have just delayed another month or two and iron out some of those things.
Yeah, I mean it's always difficult to know about these things, right? Because like as I like to talk about with like Pokemon games, time doesn't necessarily mean it's better, right? Because there's someone like me, and it's obviously different because this is a small studio compared to like Game Freak, but someone's making these decisions, right? Like obviously the loading stuff isn't a decision. Nobody made it slow.
Yeah.
But there's a decision not to work on that and to work on something else instead.
Right.
And so it's like, yeah, sure, you could delay and it might have been better. They might have fixed all these issues, or they might have needed the feedback. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Maybe they would not have thought of to do the UX improvements they had.
Was no beta.
Maybe they wouldn't have, which is fine, but maybe they wouldn't have realized.
I'm just saying, yeah.
Maybe they wouldn't have realized that everyone was really frustrated with the loading times unless they did it. So it's like you can't know that a month of delay would have had the same outcome as a month after release.
That's an excellent point. You're right in that sense. Because this was all yeah, this was like I said, there's no beta, so yeah, there's no way to get that feedback. And obviously, when you've been on a project for 8 years or however many months or whatever, it's a very different perspective from us who are just getting it for the first time and can complain about it right away and everything. Yeah, but those are excellent points. But the other piece of context that's important. This is only a $20 game. I thought it was going to be I thought it was going to be full price. To be honest,
and it's cheaper it's cheaper on Steam as well.
Jeez,
I think it's £5 cheaper on Steam,
and it is a steal at 20 because this Smooshy was also 20, I believe, and that game was a lot. I mean, not that it was any worse or anything, but the amount of content is great in this game because I'm 4 or 5 days in, however long it's been. I've had a very good, beefy, substantial experience, and I can clearly see there is a lot more to this game to go still. So that's very exciting.
Yeah, it feels like, so it's hard to know until we've finished, right? But it feels like there's kind of a main story quest that we're both working towards and now want to finish. But there's a bunch of side stuff as well, including obviously just you can just play and just keep making stuff and selling it and just living your cottagecore life, right? And there's
for sure.
It's got lots of the standard stuff, like there's quests from different people, and there's there's mining, which is fine, and there's fishing, which is fine, and you need to do all of these things to progress the main quest. But if you want to spend 20 hours in a game just going out and doing a thing and coming back, and that's all you want to do,
you probably will.
I would say, I think personally, we'll decide whether we're going to talk much about the story later on, but I do think the story is probably the best bit about this game. I love the graphics, I love the music, I love the characters, I love how it's all been put together in terms of that story.
Yep.
And I feel like I'm wrong. The best bit is the humor. The game's
yes. Okay, so let's back up a bit because we just dove right in. For people who obviously they've heard us talk about Mineko, but who maybe aren't familiar with what it actually is, the premise, the setup, because the story does influence the game or it follows it or whatever. But so you play as Mineko, this little girl with the cute little band hoodie. I think, I don't know what it's a hat, whatever she's wearing. Anyways,
I think it's a hoodie.
And she moves to this island with her dad, and they are in a new home, and she starts meeting people, and pretty much right away, they just start asking her. They force her to join the night market,
pretty much.
Which is a weekly event that they have, and so
I think that's the only thing you need to do. It won't let you sleep on a Saturday until you've done the night market.
Yes, that's mandatory. And so the loop of the game is you are gathering materials to craft items to sell at the night market. That's the primary flow of the game. There's of course a general store you can sell during the week and other cottagecore staples and stuff like that.
But you can make much more money at the night market because it's a haggling system.
Yes, so we'll get to that. Yeah.
Okay.
Or do you want to get to it now?
Well, let's talk about it now, right? I feel like we're naturally getting there, right? So your night market, what you do is you go into it and you've got your little stall and you put a certain number of items out. It's it's stacks of items, right?
Yeah.
You put them out and then you call customers and a customer comes, and different customers have different things they want. So as you progress
preferences,
you want to have different things. You want to have some bouquets, you want to have some paper crafted items, you want to have some wood crafted items, or some knitted stuff. You have lots of different things.
Yep. And you can even just put fish or resources.
You'll get more money if you have the crafted stuff though.
Yeah, absolutely. But
they'll offer you, oh, I would like to buy this, please, and then you get an option of, I think it's 9 different prices.
Yeah, it's like a half wheel basically with all sorts of prices with colors from green to red, showing how expensive and how likely or whatever.
You can choose which one you want to go with, and then sometimes they'll say yes, sometimes they'll say no, and sometimes they'll give you another option.
Yep, they'll counter.
They'll haggle, and then you can hopefully get a sale out of them. I have to say, I've never failed a haggle if they've offered a different price, right? I've never done the like, oh no, it's definitely going to be this price, right? Because I know that's going to fail. But like, I've always gone for the, oh, how about this, which then meets in the middle again, and they've always bought it at that point. I have had plenty of people say no outright when I've given them a price.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think I think I've got a good strategy where most people will buy things for above average from me now, which is good. I'm quite enjoying.
Yeah. Yep. So that's the selling part of it, but there's much more to the night market because
so you can also buy, because there's loads of other stalls as well, and they have like
the first thing you do is sell. Yeah, you sell and you have X number of customers come, and then they say, okay, that's it, that's all the customers, and then you can hang out and see the rest of the night market yourself.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's booths where you can buy stuff. Go ahead.
Which, I was just going to say that the number of booths that you have increases as you sell more of the night market. You upgrade the night market, more sellers come. And like, there's loads of weird stuff. Like, there's a kid from the village who will sell you kind of like some flowers and some dye and stuff like that. But then you also have like there's a fisher one that comes and he'll sell you loads of different types of fish. There's a chef who'll sell you different types of food. There's a clothing one, so you can buy different outfits. There's loads of different ones that appear. I'm sure you have some more as well that I think you've probably played more than me, so that maybe unlocked a few more than I have.
Have you gotten the new villagers?
I have just invited one to come and stay who's agreed to do it, but I haven't. They've not moved yet.
Okay, so there's at some point they let you know, okay, we're gonna open up some lots and you can invite some villagers, and once you complete their quests and get them to do that, they will unlock games, actually, not just booths to buy things. They're little mini games, and so there's different ones, but because it's not just the shopping ones. They talk about how there's games and other events and things like that. So like in general, like I'm really happy with the night market. It's on the title, right? And I think they're doing it justice. The music is fun, the atmosphere is fun. The sense of progression as you upgrade the night market is great because it's not just more booths. You'll get more decorations and it pretties up the place because it's pretty much just an abandoned railroad area. It's just dirt everywhere.
I think it's really good because like, I'm not saying that how other farming games do it is bad, right? Like a Stardew, I wouldn't want to do this sort of thing, right? Because Stardew is about like build up your farm, make it big, sell lots of stuff, blah, blah, blah. And having to do this to sell anything would just be dreadful, right? So I like the shipping bins and kind of standard farming games. But this is nice as a different kind of thing, right? Like actually being able to like try and get more money for something, which can work out really well, is quite fun. And being able to like craft some specific things, like I'm easily getting several $1,000s at the night market, which is probably more than what you would get it for just selling it at the shop.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Like it's not rare for me to get like I'm regularly getting like $2,000 to $3,000.
Jeez Louise, Mr. Moneybags over here. I barely cracked $1,000.
Oh man, it's goodness. Great. You gotta be harsh in the haggling,
I was about to say I gotta get harder then. I gotta play hardball with these guys. Oh man.
Also, I don't know if you've been doing this or not, but have big stacks of things because they will buy multiple from you.
Yes.
And if you just have one, stacks. They will just buy one. If you have a big stack, they will buy multiple, and you can get way more money that way.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I do know that. Okay, well, that's good to know, though. My next night market, because, the prices of things, they go up.
Lots of stuff is, I've unlocked all of the tools that I know of. Yes. I don't know if there are more or not, but I've managed, and some of those tools were pretty expensive.
Inflation is insane on this island. It's $25 for a bottle of ramen.
And a pickaxe is $1,200.
Yeah. Yeah, but
it is funny that it's dollars and not some made up currency. So
it is. It is pretty funny. But on, I guess one more thing to cap off the night market talk is actually the thing that caps off the night market. Every night market has a different, or at least as so far. I played them 4 or 5 weeks in.
I suspect it's one per week in the year. I suspect.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I
That's what I
presume neither of us have been to the next year, so we
No,
don't know
no,
that
I've
for
only hit
certain. But
some.
that's my assumption at this point.
That is, yes, that's my assumption, that each week is a different event until you hit the new year, and then it just cycles through again. But yeah, at the end of the night market, which is whenever you want to, you just go up to the main stage and you start an event of some kind. The very first one is a cat race,
which is wild. You're
yep,
literally on a cat.
yep. Oh yeah. You're not. It's not like the chicken race you were talking about earlier. No. You are riding the cat.
Yeah. Yep.
And you're racing against other kids in the village and another cat who's riding a cat.
I mean, this is the humor in this game, right? Like, if you find the idea that you're riding a cat against other villagers and a cat riding another cat, if you don't find that funny, I'm sorry, I can't help you. You're not going to like this game, right?
Yep.
That is
and objectively
they call it out. Funny.
And they call it out too. The announcer guy, the host, he's like, "Oh, and there's a cat on a cat?" ?
Yeah.
Everything that's funny and weird in the game is just as funny and weird to the villagers in Mineko. It's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and I like the variety in events, because 1 week it's a race, another one it's a little parade, and all sorts of different things that are just these fun little events. And you can win a trophy if it's a competitive one, like the race or other things. So it's nice that you get little things out of the night market too. You can even get some outfits, I think, for free. And it's just so much fun. I'm so happy that it's not a minor thing. It's, the whole week is counting down to the night market, and it's a great fun feeling.
And like you can sell stuff in the shop if you want, but like if you don't need to, don't. Like, I just sold stuff in the shop, but it was because I really wanted to buy the seed to farm. Right. And it's like, I don't want to wait till Saturday, right? But don't do that very often. Like, only do it if it's something you really want to do.
Well, I've been selling more things because I'm not making 2-3K a week.
Gotta save everything up and sell it all at the night market.
Yeah. But let's talk about that, the not night market part of it, because it's quest directed. That's the biggest thing.
It is. It really is. So it's crafting and questing, and that is essentially the whole game, right? So if you don't like if you find crafting annoying and you find fetch quests annoying, like, I mean, well, let's be honest. Do you like cottagecore games at all? Right?
Yeah.
Like, that's like, I understand if people would want more than that in a game, but there is the story, and I think that adds a lot to it. So I kind of understand why somebody would not like this game, because there is a lot of that crafting. And if you don't like the crafting and you don't like fetch quests, you're going to struggle with this game.
Well, okay. Well, there's two things about that. I have two. Like, on the one hand, I think something else, a negative that I'd touch on earlier, I wish there were just more chatting and dialogue, because the villagers pretty much, it's only dialogue for the quests. You can't just have conversations with them or scenes, really. Like, I reached 5, because every time you do a quest, you increase the relationship by 1 the heart or whatever. And I did hit 5 stars with 1 or 2 people, and you get a little scene. Nice. But nothing super major. That'd be my one request, that I'd like to see more just conversations or whatever.
Yeah, because you get that with a few of the characters, right? You get that with Bobo, obviously, in the story. Yes. You get it with Bobo's mum, whose name is Bobo's mum. You get it with your dad.
That was my other comment. Even though the game is just crafting and questing, it's so much fun and enjoyable, because the dialogue is just a triple plus. It's charming and funny and engaging. Like you said, there's a character named Bobo, and his mom you call her Bobo's mom, and that's her name. And she says, "Boy, I lucked out that I had a son named Bobo, huh?"
Yeah.
It is a really, really funny game. One of the funniest games I think I've played.
More tools. Sorry.
Got
more tools and more craft benches. I must.
Yeah. Okay, you just hit the next spot. Yeah. I reached there. I guess we can touch briefly on the story. Neither of us are that far in it, but the overall story is kind of figuring out, and they tell you up front, it's the mystery of Nico, this magical cat being. It's a very large cat with a mask.
Very large cat.
And he brought prosperity to the island before. Now he's kind of in hiding, and you're kind of figuring out like what's going on with that. And there's
a mysterious organization of agents,
just called the agency, who are looking for it. Looks like for Nico, excuse me, and so that's kind of it. But it's still interesting because I'm curious where they're going to go. I'm not going to talk about the thing, but I'm talking about, Al, that they did a little unexpected thing with a certain character.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's definitely invested me more in the story. I'm curious what's going to happen. Speaking of characters,
these new craft benches are very expensive.
Right, that's why I gotta make the 2-3K. That's like some of that. The characters are all they're all really funny and enjoyable. Like I said, you don't get that much dialogue, so it's hard to get that much like personalities or whatever out of them.
Yeah,
you do see it, but like it just it's not super substantial just because the opportunities aren't there.
There's a handful of them, but the rest of them, I struggle to remember their names.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's hard to struggle. Like maybe you can see them, you remember a thing or two. But I mean, Bobo is another kid on the island, the first person you meet, and he's probably the person who talks the most outside of questing and stuff like that. He's just there to go with you on the story, pretty much. He's energetic. He's annoying / fun, depending on how you feel. Even Mineko, I think, is debating. Because Bobo is quite a handful. There's your dad, who's very dad. He has like 800 different nicknames for you, including Wormburger. The first line of dialogue in the game is Dad Yawn or Dad Sigh, like the in asterisk, like not just someone sighing, but somebody doing a dad sigh or yawn or whatever. So he's a very dad. And the other big one is Miyako. They give you a rival in this game of sorts, because she has a booth right next to yours, and she has you have your little hat, but she has like a panda hat, and she's when I first met her and saw her, I heard Blue's theme from Pokemon playing in my head. Because that's the energy she brings. And then later they actually say "smell you later, Red," because you're wearing red, and my god, she's actually just Blue.
There is one other character whom I love as well.
Yes,
and that's Hank the Hunk.
Hank the Hunk.
Because he is amazing, right? Like, minor spoilers for the story here. He basically eggs you on with doing illegal things. And he calls you little troublemaker, and he's like, "Oh, nobody would ever take this thing and do this thing. That would be really bad." And he said, I say if anybody had this, they'd be able to do this thing. I just love. He's so good, and he's good fun.
Is pretty good. Yes, you're right. Okay, I just remembered some other another important character that I love, the night market host. That's his name, the night market host. And he's really funny because he's wants the night market to grow big, but he also doesn't care about you or the kids at all. And he just has really funny interactions with the kids and whatnot. They're all colorful, they're all fun, lots and lots of laughs. I'm trying to think. Like, it's obviously we're only a few days in, so it's hard to talk about further things, or
I
the
mean, we could also
thing.
kind of talk about the farming, but we've both just unlocked the farming and not
I have
successfully grown
one
anything because,
plot.
my word, it takes a long time to get farming in this game, right? The
It
trailer
takes a
shows like
long
loads of
time.
farming, and then you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess there's farming, but I can't figure out how to do it. And then literally, like, during this recording, I unlocked it. Like, it's just,
Yeah,
it's weird how long it takes, and I get it makes sense based on what it's going for. But I
yep,
felt like the trailer like sold it as a core part of the game, but it's very
yes.
definitely not a core part of the game. You know?
It's well, yeah. I mean, no, it's not like it's not its own thing. It's definitely just going to be another form of resource management, which is a very big part of this game, and that's actually something I think we should touch on. That you because you have a stamina system. You have one heart, and then later you can get another heart, and probably more later. But every time you
Yeah.
perform an action, like you gather a flower, or you fish, or you chop a tree, or whatever,
Yes.
you take a certain amount from your heart. So there's a limited amount of actions you can
Yeah.
take during the day, and you can refill your hearts by eating things, but you're only allowed 3 items of food per day,
Yeah.
and you have to buy them or whatever, right? So it's an interesting design of because obviously they're going to restrict you. Like you can't just build 800 bouquets and fans to sell at the night market.
Yeah.
So you have to carefully plan your day kind of to think about, okay, what am I going to harvest today? How
Yes.
much do I want to spend? Both money and time. It's resource planning and management in a almost indirect kind of way because it's all goes down to the hearts and the stamina
Yeah.
and money really, which I think is clever in the way it's I probably they could fine tune it a little more, but in general I think it's a because yeah, the overall idea of just running around and gathering resources is kind of limited, right? So it's an
Yeah.
interesting way to make you think about it more or get a little more invested in it than just I
Yeah.
just need to go pick up X flowers.
Yeah. So I understand why foraging uses up energy, right? Because like that's all you can do to start with, right? There is
Yep,
nothing else you can do for the first couple hours of the
yep.
game until you
Pick up
unlock some more stuff.
flowers and
But that's
hairballs.
really annoying in later game because like there's so much you need to get, right? And it's like you go and you
Mm-hmm.
use up your stamina getting like the rocks or the paper or the wood or the fish or whatever, and then it's
Mm-hmm.
like I would really like to be able to go and pick some flowers now as well. And it's like I really feel like that shouldn't actually use stamina, and it's a pretty standard thing in games for that not to specifically use stamina.
Well,
um it's just a
do
little
you
bit, I
want
know it uses slightly less stamina, right? Like I
do
know
you
that.
want do you want a little spoiler?
Go on.
So I'm assuming you haven't hit this because you haven't mentioned it. At a certain point in the game, you can start sending Nico to go
No, yeah, no, I
gather.
have done that. Yeah.
Oh, you
Yeah. I
have? Okay.
literally I just got that, but
Okay.
I don't know how much it gets. And
It's yes. So you can send. So there's also a time resource basically where you can. There's several locations on the island, and you can only go to 2 per day basically. There's flowers and things in the main town that you can pick as well.
yeah,
But if you go to a location and come back, it goes to like evening and then night or whatever. And so at a certain point of the game, when you have Nico, you can send him out to go gather resources for you. And every time you
yeah,
come back from the bus, he'll have whatever resource you ask for. It's not I think it's an okay amount. It's not a big
right,
amount, but it's, totally passive. You're not and
yeah,
just extra, right? So like
yeah,
for instance, the mines, at least at this early on in the game, there's not much you're getting out of it because there's not much you can craft with them or whatever.
yeah,
But at some point you might need some extra rocks. Well, then that's perfect for Nico. While you go gather wood or whatever and come back, he'll have a decent amount of rocks for you, and you can you just over time as you repeat that it builds up. I think it's okay. Maybe you could get a little more from him. That'd be nice, and maybe you can later. I don't know.
yeah,
Um, but But
yeah, I don't think it's a massive. It just feels a little bit annoying that I'm like, oh, I've done all my stuff, and
yeah,
I'm like, there's a flower outside my house, and I have to eat some food to pick that flower, right? And I
yeah,
feel like actually the energy to eat the food would be more than just picking the flower.
right.
It just feels a little bit silly.
Yeah, I
It's a
agree.
small thing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's
Well,
just a decision they made that I disagree with, and I
I
understand
I
why they did it. It's
mhm.
annoying later on in the game.
It does. I agree with you, but I think like the fact that they did that with Nico, I think there's hope that they're still gonna there's further things along the game that will address that
Yeah, possibly.
because have you hit summer?
Yes.
Yes. So one thing, and I didn't expect this to be honest. I don't know why I didn't expect it, but when you change seasons, the like availability of flowers and
Yes.
I think they said fish changes,
Yeah.
and that can be a big deal because you require specific flowers for
Yep.
certain crafts and things like that,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So
And it's not like the
I
year's a short time.
no,
Like
it's yeah, it's a
it's a
full.
standard 28-day season, 4
Mm-hmm.
seasons per year.
Yup. So it would get waiting a whole year to get the sakura flowers again. Like I would be very shocked if you had to do that. Like I'm
Can you
certain they
does
will give.
are they ever for sale at the night market, right? Like
I think they can be, but I still
cuz
don't think that's enough.
every night market in spring,
Mm-hmm.
um what's her name? Is it
Yeah, it's Miyako. Yeah,
Miyako was selling sakura flowers.
yeah. I
So
don't.
I wonder whether she'll be doing that again or not.
I've only done one summer night market. I don't remember, to be honest. But I mean, at some point, like that's because she only sells like 3 or 4 resources. So like it's. I feel like they have to address that later. I'm really hopeful that they will. And like I said, that the fact that they gave you Nico who can go out and gather things for you, like I feel that will
Yeah,
get addressed at some point.
maybe. We'll see.
But yeah, we'll see. Like I said, the whole system could use a little fine tuning. It's weird because your reward for quests generally is a recipe of some kind.
Yeah.
And what that means is you can really fill up your recipes before you can progress.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of other workbenches and I have a lot of other recipes for them when I don't have those benches yet.
Yeah.
But so yeah, there's a handful of things like that that could use some improvements probably, but all in all though, like it's super enjoyable because the game is just so funny and so cute and so charming. I didn't mention it before. I don't think we specifically mentioned it, but the game looks gorgeous. The art style is it's storybook papery cute. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's beautiful.
And they really lean into that, right? Like the sea.
Yep.
The sea is like
oh yeah.
That kind of really stylized wave.
Yeah, like a paper puppet show sort of thing where it's like up and down, just like a paper sort of cutout almost. Yeah, that's a really lovely looking thing.
I do have one other thing. One small complaint.
Yep.
It's really hard to know what items you don't have for crafting recipes.
Oh yeah, that's the pitfall. So many crafting systems fall in where they don't.
Before I knew what dyes were in the game, I was like, "What on earth is this like bottle with a liquid in it? I don't know what this is." And now there's a one that looks kind of like a printed paper that I have no idea what it is. I haven't found it anywhere. I'm presuming it's a crafting thing I'll get at some point.
Yeah,
but I have just no idea what it is.
You just said you unlocked tools, right? Well, if you look at them, you'll figure out what it is.
I presume it's that paper thing. Yeah. But I literally just got that.
Yeah.
Like, as
I know. Yeah, it's weird because they introduced, like I said, so many recipes and
before
by
you
extension,
can get them.
Materials, and before you can get them or even know what they are, right?
Yeah.
You can, and that would be nice to clear that up to add clarity, or in this case, maybe just making them question marks, showing that you don't know what they are, or whatever.
Yeah.
Or silhouettes.
I'm sure there's a good solution to this.
Yeah.
I just think that what we have is not ideal, and it's not terrible.
Yes.
It's just a bit frustrating to have a crafting recipe and going, I can't do this, and I don't know why.
Yes, absolutely.
Why can't I do that?
I agree. But yeah, it's rocky, but like So our friend, Johnny was also playing this, and he had sort of similar complaints in that the overall progression is a bit wonky because there's so many quests, and you don't know what you should be focusing on, or what you can do or can't do or whatever. My advice to anyone who's playing this, to focus on, you have a menu that shows a quest list, like the major story quests. If you focus on those, eventually all the stuff will fit into place. It's not very graceful, because of the stuff we just said, but that's just my advice to make it easier for people. But I do agree there's just a few bits where they could use some more fine tuning and clarity on this stuff. Also the dyes that you mentioned. I didn't know how to get the dyes. Like, they mentioned it, but I didn't realize you have to go to your menu because you squeeze fish to get dyes, which is interesting, including like actual fish, not just like an octopus. Like, you squeeze a snapper to get red dye. But you have to go to your menu to pick a squeeze option in your inventory, which that wasn't clear. There's little tidbits, and of course, Mineko's not by far the only game that struggles with clarity and whatnot, but those are the ones that definitely should be pointed out. But yeah, I mean, overall though, like, it's such an interesting journey because waiting for so long, but it's still a cheap game and there's still issues for sure, but I still really, really love this game.
Yeah,
absolutely. I don't think I'm not disappointed. Like, I'm happy with what's there. I'm going to be really happy when they fix the loading times, especially. But I don't know if worth the wait is quite the answer, but it wasn't a disappointment, right? Like, there's been plenty of other games with near decade-long development that have been plenty disappointments. By bigger companies for sure, right? But thankfully, Mineko is, in my opinion, delivering. I very much love this game. The laughs are priceless, and it just, like I said, I think it gets the hard parts of making a game right: the style, the charm, the feeling. I love and care about the game even when it's kind of broken or doesn't work at times. So
Agreed.
yeah, I mean, yeah. Do you have any other thoughts, Sal? Go ahead.
I think I agree. This game is good fun. I enjoy it. I will be probably putting it down until there's a patch, just because I want to play it when it's nicer. Well, I've got like 4 days to play Faith Farm.
There's that, right? Yeah, Paleo Pines is out too. Might as well.
I've got 4 days to play Faith Farm before I record that, and then I've got Harvest Moon to play. So, like, I've got lots of stuff to play. But I will probably pick it up again and try and finish stuff off. Because it's good fun. And it's like, the art is adorable, the characters are fun, the humor is legitimately good. Like, there's lots about this game that is really good.
Yep.
And there's just a few things that are just a bit frustrating.
Yep.
That's it.
And then, like I said, the nice thing is they're not super massive, impossible game redesign problems. Like, a patch or two will iron out the vast majority of this. So hopefully. I'm very much looking forward to that. I hope this game does well. I'd like to see more Mineko, DLC, a sequel, whatever. I want to see this little game be the little game that could. I read some stuff about their development cycle, like an interview with some of the developers, and like, it was obviously clearly an 8-year development period. It was rough, right? Like, they almost quit at certain points and stuff like that. But I'm glad they didn't, because this is a wonderful little gem of a game, and I'm glad it's finally here.
Agreed. Awesome. Well,
all right.
Thank you, Kevin, for joining me to chat about Mineko and her night market.
Thank you, Al, for inviting me.
Thank you, listeners, for listening. Kevin, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Cooper Prez on the tweeters for my personal why I retweet other funnier, smarter, more interesting people's things. Primarily, you can probably, and I'll probably PRing the tweeters, the account there more, since that's not the primary thing anywhere. Anyways, at least about the episodes I'm on. You can find my art account at Sprider Squared. I do mostly pixel art. I do other stuff. I do commissions if you are so interested. And you can also find me at Rainbow Mario Pod. That is the Twitter handle for Rainbow Road Radio, the Mario podcast I do with our mutual friend Alex. I bring it up now. It's been on a bit of a hiatus as Alex has been traveling. I believe next week, actually, next weekend we will be recording a new episode. So
just in time for the new game.
Yep. In about a week after this episode comes out, I imagine the next Mario episode, and we haven't talked about it in details, but obviously big month ahead. We got Halloween, we got Mario Wonder, and little spoiler here, Alex has been traveling in Japan, and I don't know if you know this, Al, but there are some Mario things in Japan.
In Japan?
Yeah.
What?
It's crazy, right?
No.
So expect some commentary on who knows, a thing or two he saw that might be Mario related over there in Japan.
Exciting.
I'm excited. I've only seen a few pictures, but I'm curious to see what other stories and comments he has.
Yeah.
But yes, that's where you can find me on the interwebs. You can also find me on the Harvest Season Slack, which you can access by going to our Patreon. What is it? It's say the thing. I don't remember what it is.
I was just seeing how long you would keep going for.
Yeah, no. Well, look, it's the Harvest Season on Patreon. It's something.cash. I don't remember what it is. The links will be there.
Not something. That's the wrong podcast.
Is it?
Patreon.com/THSpod.
Okay, whatever.
You're thinking of the Pokemon podcast.
Darn it, am I?
ISC.cash.
Oh, good heavens. Good heavens.
You can find links to all of those things, everything related to the podcast you can find on our website, harvestseason.club.
Yeah.
And I think that's everything.
You can find Al at the ScottBot on Twitter or Mastodon.
Oh, yeah, who cares? Those links, fine, whatever.
You're going to find the same thing as you do at the THS Pod on Twitter. Social media is a dumpster fire right now. Social media is a dumpster fire.
What even is social media anymore?
Look, Slack is social media. Go, give money and get access to the good stuff. But anyways, just go ahead. Sorry, Al.
Until next time, Kevin, have a good harvest. The Harvest Season is created by Al McKinley, with support from our patrons, including our pro farmers, Kevin, Stuart, and Elisa. Our art is done by Micah the Brave, and our music is done by Nick Burgess. Feel free to visit our website, harvestseason.club, for show notes and links to things we discussed in this episode. I've got a bean now. I just want to... How do I do the bean? What do I do with the bean? The game of the bean? I don't know what...
The backyard.
Oh, the backyard. Oh, for goodness sake. I've got the watering can already. Oh, for goodness sake. You know what? Fine. Let's just do this stupid episode.
Do it live.
Let's just do it live.
We're playing Mineko as we're recording.
I mean, let's be honest. That's what we're doing all the time.